Hey guys, welcome back to Kam and Kary.
Yes, thank you for joining us on another amazing episode. And, everybody honestly loved all of our sex education that we had last week. And we have another amazing guest today.
Yes, and we have two very special guests today. And today we have Vanessa and Xander Marin, and they're actually going to be like your new BFF couple friends. Okay, they're super fun, relaxed, and you'll love to hang out with them. And she's a sex therapist with 20 years of experience, and he is just a regular sweet dude and hubby, from what I've heard. And what's so fabulous about them is they're willing to share the ups and downs in their relationship while giving you techniques to improve your own. So, we have collected lots of amazing questions from a lot of our fans today, and Carrie has as well.
Yeah.
And we're so excited to ask them a whole bunch of stuff and, what they deal with all the time on a daily basis with their clients. So,
Yeah. So thank you for joining us, guys. And here we go.
yay. Hi, guys.
Hi, thanks for
Hi.
having us. We're so excited to be here.
I know, we're so excited to have
I
you. And
know.
I'm so excited because I found out that you guys are originally from Santa Barbara. Now you're in Santa Barbara right now, correct?
I'm from Santa Barbara.
Okay.
We're in LA right now, but we are
Okay.
in the middle of plotting a move back home to Santa Barbara. So
so
Oh, wow.
we're very excited
excited.
about it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And that's my hometown. So I'm like, I feel like a
You love it.
connection with you guys already. So
Yeah. It's a good place to be from, isn't it?
yes. Oh my goodness. So we, of course, fell in love with your Instagram profile and everything you have to say online. And I actually found you guys Googling and
Yes.
it came up and I started looking at everything and I was like, oh my God, it's just amazing what you guys do and how you guys help so many people. So we want to hear about, what you guys do.
Yeah. I mean, first, I want to know. So you've been how long have you guys been together?
We have been together for 14 years,
Yeah.
married for 10. Yeah, and I've been in the sex therapy field doing research, internships, all kinds of different stuff since I was 18. So, yeah,
Okay.
coming up on
Oh,
20 years.
okay, that's brave to go right into that at 18.
So when you met her,
Yeah.
Xander, did you go, oh my gosh, this is amazing?
Yeah, when I met
Yeah.
Vanessa, I was like, wow, this is really cool. I never imagined that I would be involved in any way other than just casually chatting with Vanessa. But
Or having her practice what she's learned in the bedroom
Yeah.
with you.
yeah, that was always fine with me.
Of course. Okay, well, tell us, like, okay, I want to know something. What do you think after all your years of experience? What is like the most taboo topic?
I mean, the whole thing, right? Like you can just say the word sex and people start to get really nervous. And I think even the most basic things, people just feel like this isn't something that we're allowed to talk about. So I'm really glad that you guys are creating this community and this platform to open up these conversations. But I would say, there are specific topics that definitely get people's pulses racing a little
Mhm.
bit more. Definitely anything anal, having multiple partners like threesomes or group sex or doing some sort of swinging, those things tend to feel pretty taboo. But honestly, I mean, I think everybody just gets really uncomfortable with any conversation.
So let's jump right in with those, subjects. So what do you think about the threesome situation for couples? Is it healthy or not healthy?
It's so hard to make a blanket statement about it like that. I think that couples go into it for really different reasons. Sometimes couples, it genuinely sounds like something they're both interested in. They want to explore this. It feels really fun. But we definitely talk to a lot of couples where, one partner feels pressured to do it because their partner wants to. And you're like, I don't really want to be doing this. Or a lot of times people will say, our sex life is suffering so much, or we're not connected at all. So we need to open our relationship or bring someone else in. And that could be temporarily fun, but it's not going to resolve any foundational issues in your relationship.
Yeah, I think like the way that a lot of people go about doing it, it ends up not being particularly healthy because it's kind of like, oh, like we're drunk. Wouldn't it be fun to have a threesome? And then you meet someone and just do it. And there's no discussion of any guidelines or boundaries. And then,
Mhm.
but if you really want to do it the right way and kind of talk through it and whatnot, a lot of people realize, oh, this is actually a lot of work. I have to put in, set all these boundaries. We have to meet people. We have to decide how we're going to do it. And then it's like, oh, maybe that's not, it takes away some of the excitement.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Wait, have you had a threesome, Kary?
Oh my gosh. No way.
Me either.
No, that is definitely that is definitely not on my bucket list, Cameron. Like a lot of other things are. I like all the attention on me. I don't like sharing, especially not in bed.
No.
And I don't like sharing my guy with any other girl. And not to mention, ew, I couldn't imagine.
No, I couldn't.
Going down on a
Especially
girl.
with a girl. No.
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 There are lots of different ways you can configure it, but yeah, it's good to know that about yourself.
Yeah.
That's just not something you're.
Oh yeah, I know. That is a
Just so everyone knows, that's how we feel.
Yeah.
I was curious.
If anyone's curious. Yeah, I mean,
We're not sharing.
Yeah, I definitely think that there needs to be like before maybe you enter into, now that I'm single for the first time in a very long time.
Yeah.
When
single, ready to mingle.
Yes. But before entering into a sexual relationship with a partner, I think it's important to talk about your boundaries, right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And that's just a conversation that so few couples ever end up having. We're so hesitant to talk about sex openly and honestly, even with the person that we're having sex with. So that's a really big part of the work that we do, especially on Instagram, showing up in stories every day and talking about different topics. And the two of us being able to talk about things as a husband and wife, I think it really helps normalize it for other couples. And someone will say, oh, I took your story and I went and showed my husband or my boyfriend. And, we talked about it together. So that's really what we're trying to do with our work.
What do you mean by talking about your boundaries? Like,
well,
are you okay with certain positions? Is that like,
no, I mean, like some people are super into bondage or you know what?
Like
they love like a threesome or they want anal sex.
Like that kind of
like
stuff.
that kind of stuff. Do you talk to Cora about all your things?
No, that's just not been in my category before. So it's just never even been, never come up.
It's not in your menu?
No, like we don't talk about handcuffs or anything because that's,
So do you actually?
Sam has some homework for the episode.
Do you talk about sex with him?
I mean, we don't really talk about it unless we have to like work on something. If we're working on something, making something better, we do.
Okay.
And we're like, oh, we'll try like a new thing or use something,
Oh, like, I don't like how you gave me the blowjob. You need to do this.
Yeah. Exactly. He's not happy.
So Sam, I think like what you're saying, that's what most people are like. They're like, we don't talk about it unless there's a problem, something that we have to resolve, right? But that actually ends up putting a lot more pressure on it because then it's like, ooh, now we have to talk about it. We have never talked about it. Or it's been years since we've talked about it. And I have to bring up a problem. And a lot of times like we get so nervous about it that even if it's something really small, like, hey, I just want more foreplay or something like that. Like we get so worked up about it. And then it finally comes blurting out of our mouth and our partner's like, whoa, where's this coming from? And it turns into a big fight, right? And then that just makes you want to talk about sex even less. So one of the biggest tips that we give to couples is to try to get used to talking about sex, even in a neutral sense. It doesn't always have to be solving a problem.
Like at Starbucks.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
neutral.
So what about the other taboo subject, like the anal sex? Like do
most people do that? I don't. So
there aren't super great statistics on like how many people do it, but we have a podcast ourselves and we did 2 episodes actually called Butt Stuff Part 1, Butt Stuff Part 2. And they were our most popular episodes for a really long time because people are very, very curious. There is this sense of like, ooh, it still feels a little taboo and naughty and I'm not sure, but we have some extremely curious people in our audience.
What we ended up finding is that I think most people end up having a bad experience because they hear anal sex and they assume that just means penetrative anal sex, like intercourse. But the reality is there's so many other options on the menu before you get to that. And you really need to warm yourself up and take it slow. And so, it was really nice to get to
remember that thing that we were going to go buy, the bullet?
The bullet.
Yeah.
Oh, we heard about the bullet.
You can start with a little bullet.
I already forgot my notes in my office. I forgot about the bullet.
Okay, yeah. We're supposed to buy those.
Have you guys heard of that before?
Of course.
Yeah, there are a lot of different toys that you can get, some that vibrate, some that don't vibrate. You can use fingers as well. So there are a lot of other things that you can play around with. It doesn't just have to be intercourse.
Okay. Okay. So that's what you do to lead up to it. Because they were saying things
Baby
to lead up
steps.
to it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Fingers, the bullet.
We're all about baby steps. A lot of people get themselves really overwhelmed and think like, oh, I have to do this thing that feels really scary and so far out of my comfort zone. And then that makes them not want to do anything new in the bedroom. So we're all about, let's break it down. Let's
Like
make it feel
beads?
easier.
Is that what people do? The beads? They like,
Yeah, beads.
Oh, anal beads. I've
Wait,
heard
do
of
they-
those.
do
I've
they-
never tried those.
do they really put them in someone's bottom?
They sure do.
Yeah.
No way. And it really goes all the way up?
Yeah.
Wait, but how does it go up in there? Like,
Oh, bro, with lube?
like do you need like a stick to push it up?
They're usually firm enough that you can just with your hands, you can get them up in
Okay.
there.
Yeah, so I have heard of anal beads.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's for guys and girls.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
and
Learning,
yeah,
learning.
and people go out with them, right? Or something.
Oh, wait, in them? In them?
Yeah, to
Usually
dinner.
with plugs. Yeah, there are plugs that you
Oh,
can
butt
insert
plugs.
and you
That's
can
what
go out with them.
yeah, that's what my guest assistant was telling me about because
Yeah.
I was asking him about the whole deal, and he's like, "Oh, you put a anal plug and you go out all night with them to get you ready."
Okay.
Okay,
I
but
never
here's the
done-
thing about your rectum though is the muscles are actually very strong in there and so you can push it out.
oh wow.
So you got to be I would suggest playing around with that at home first before taking it outside. Another little baby step.
I have a wild story. I have a friend. This is crazy. You're not gonna believe this. I'm not gonna say who it is. But her husband put like a vibrating device in her and they went to dinner and he had the remote.
Oh yes, yes, I have heard of that.
Okay. I mean,
Yes, I have heard of that. That's actually kind of cool and sexy. If you're like married and you want to spice
right,
up your
like
marriage,
in
and,
public,
huh?
like, and then like messes with the remote.
I
Like,
mean, in public, like everybody else knew he was doing that.
no one
Oh,
knows.
okay.
No.
I was gonna say. Now the sexy thing about it is like no one knows,
Yeah.
and then he does something, and then she looks at him like, "Hey,
Oh, that's what
Mhm.
that's the trick. Okay.
let's go home."
Yeah.
And then he starts doing more and more and more, and like, "Okay, I gotta go home."
Oh my
Now.
god. Jeez. Yeah, I was blown away by that story. That was a new one for me.
I need to go home, so because I love to be social and out, so maybe that's a
That
good.
would actually make you go home.
That may
Wow. Okay, so what is the craziest thing that you guys had to, you know, listen to or help a, client through?
To us, there really isn't anything that's crazy anymore. I mean, I think maybe earlier in my career, the first few times of like hearing about something new, it was like, oh, okay, I didn't realize people were into that. But at this point, like we've heard everything. And I think both of us just feel honestly like impressed by how creative people get. Like you can literally think of anything and there's somebody who's into that sexually. And I just think that's really cool that we can all
Yeah.
have such different interests. We can all be turned on by different things. So it takes a lot to rattle us these days.
Yeah. Oh, I can't imagine the stories you hear. Do most people reach out to you through social media and feel the most comfortable, or do they usually feel most comfortable when they call you and talk to you? And
Typically through social media now. So I started my practice out working with people one-on-one, like in an office, very much like traditional psychotherapy. I have a psychotherapy background. And we realized at a certain point, like we started building out online courses because we were having the same stuff come up over and over again with my clients. So the very first one that I created was all about female orgasm, like really
Okay.
specific, teaching women exactly what to do to orgasm. And we realized like the courses work so much better because it's hard to go in person and talk to a stranger about your sex life. So we pivoted the business a few years ago, and now all that we do is online courses.
yeah.
I was going to ask you about that. We did have a guest last week, and we talked about how to give, tricks to give a really good blowjob. Are
Mhm.
there any tricks for a guy to give a woman really great oral sex?
Absolutely. Okay, so the first one is just to do it, period. Because we have all of these misconceptions about female orgasm. And a lot of, like, especially in heterosexual couples, a lot of people think that intercourse should be the thing that makes women orgasm. The reality is only 15, maybe 20% of women can orgasm from intercourse. And even of that small number, most of them can't do it consistently. We women really need direct clitoral stimulation to reach
Did you say
orgasm.
15 to 20%?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It's really small. Yeah, we need direct clitoral stimulation, and the clitoris isn't getting a whole lot of action when you're having intercourse. So that's such a big myth that a lot of women will tell me, like, I feel like something's wrong with me. I'm broken because I'm not orgasming from this, but that's normal. So oral sex tends to be the most successful way to help a woman reach an orgasm because you're giving her that like focused stimulation. So a big thing that comes up for women though around receiving oral is that we've grown up our whole lives being told that our genitals are they're weird and they smell bad and they're kind of icky and they probably taste bad. So a lot of us really struggle to let our partner go down on us. We're so self-conscious about what it's like for them, right? So as a partner, you can really help set her up for success and set her at ease by letting her know you're excited to do this. Like, I love the way you look. I love the way you taste and the way you smell. Like, I want to focus on you. And then one other tip that I'll give is sometimes people they try to get really complicated with their technique. They're like, oh, let me spell out the alphabet on her clitoris, or I'm going to use my hand and I'm going to do this crazy thing. And then I'm going to move my tongue and do this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Or like changing your technique every 20 seconds.
Yeah.
I think the biggest tip for guys out there is when she says don't stop, she means do not stop, do not change anything that you're doing. Keep doing the same thing. Consistency is really important.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Because a big tip that we got for last week for amazing blowjob was to maybe put a little vibrator or
I feel
something.
like you like saying that word.
Vibrator?
No, blowjob.
Blowjob.
You just kind of pause and you say it. Oh, it's so funny. Sorry,
Like a vibrator underneath or something like that to make it vibrate a little bit more on your you're on your face. So it kind of vibrates or whatever. Anything like
That's
that.
what we learned last week.
Yeah, that's what we learned.
Okay, so my favorite blowjob technique is that a really great blowjob is actually just as much about your hands as it is about your mouth. I think a lot of people hear the word blowjob and they think I can only use my mouth, but our mouths get tired really fast, right? So I like to imagine having your hand and your mouth working in tandem. So you put your hand right up against your mouth and you're thinking about creating the tightness, the firmness, the sensation with your hand, but the wetness with your mouth. So that's just a very simple technique shift that a lot of people don't realize you can make.
Yeah. And then on the receiving end, it feels like your mouth is on the whole thing, even though the reality is it's really just on the tip. You can kind of create this illusion and it is just as pleasurable for the guy receiving, and it's much easier for the giver to be able to do that and not have to be, trying to fit the whole thing in your mouth.
And then again, another big thing,
that's a good.
Just with going down on a woman, I think blowjobs are all about enthusiasm too. And so if you can make eye contact with your partner, tell your partner this is so hot, you're so big, I really like doing this, that's really going to get him going too and feel excited. I think a lot of times women especially will say oh, I'm worried that it's going to seem fake or weird, but guys love being told that they're big and you're loving having them in your mouth. It's not a problem. He's not going to be rating your acting skills on that one.
We're easy to please.
So what do you think about this whole, the 69, right? I mean, isn't it hard to focus on one or the, everybody that, but I'm thinking, that's a really hard position to, you're trying to please somebody and they're trying to please you. And it's what do you think about
that? We have a personal disagreement on this one. I enjoy it. I do enjoy it. However, we have a issue. We have a 1 foot height difference, which causes some alignment issues, so to speak. But what do you think?
No, I prefer to focus either on giving or receiving. To me, I get too distracted trying to do both at the same time. So I'm not a huge fan of it, but some people are.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it can be sexy or whatever, but it's okay, I'd rather okay, let me focus on you, you focus on me at the end of the day.
Yeah.
What do you think about it, Cam? Don't you think?
Yeah, I don't think, no, it doesn't really work for Cora and I either.
Because you're
We have a height difference too. So, yeah, so we kind of skip that one.
yeah.
It's hard to
So,
line up if you're not like
Yeah, we
really
focus
same
on
height.
other things.
Uh,
Um,
so what other questions do you have for her?
yeah, so I was wondering, okay, what is like, the age where women are the most crazy about sex? Is it like
Oh,
in their
mhm.
40s? I know or is it 50s? I mean,
Mm.
you always see these stories. Is there such a thing?
There isn't. Yeah, that's a big myth. A lot of people
Oh, it's
hear
a
that of like, oh,
myth.
women hit their sexual peak like in
Yeah.
their 40s
My
and
husband keeps
50s.
trying to tell me that my peak's now.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, I'm confused. Okay.
Yeah, it's so different for every woman. It's really individual. So, and honestly, I think we can have peaks throughout the entire course of our lives.
Vanessa, do
Oh.
you think though that part of that myth might be that as you get older, you get a better sense of what you like and what works for you, and so if once you start enjoying sex more, then you start wanting sex more?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, if I think back to the sex that I was having, like, before we met, babe.
Oh,
Uh,
thanks.
yeah, it's like, I wouldn't have loved that. So I think as we get to know ourselves better and we feel more comfortable communicating, asking for what we want, like it definitely gets better. But a lot of times what people are referencing is like hormone issues that we go
Mhm.
through too. And hormones do play a role in sex drive and our sexual enjoyment, but it's a much smaller piece of the puzzle than a lot of people think it is.
Okay. And is it the same for guys as well? Like they don't really have a peak either, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's again really variable. I mean,
Mm.
it does get harder as we age, like, things get more complicated. It can be
Mhm.
harder to get an erection, to keep an
Right. What age
erection.
does that
Well,
start at?
speaking of that, Viagra.
Mhm.
I mean, I have heard that there is like a Viagra for women.
Oh.
Is there such
Uh-huh.
thing? Yeah.
Yeah, so there are like they've been trying for a long time to find some sort of magic pill
Wow.
that we can take. But the thing about Viagra that a lot of people misunderstand is Viagra is just meant to help you get an erection if you have a medical condition that's preventing it. A lot of people think that Viagra is supposed to affect sex drive, but it doesn't. And so when we talk about like, yeah, some sort of pill to affect women's sex drive, there just really isn't anything that has been proven to work. And that's because our sex drive is affected by so many
Mhm.
things. Like I
Mm.
could sit here for 10 minutes and rattle off a list to you of all the different dynamics that can affect your sex drive, but I'll pick like just two of them to focus on. Like one of them is the relationship between you and your partner.
Mhm.
And this is something that people never talk about, but we'll get DMs from women saying like, I never want to have sex with my husband. And we'll ask questions like, okay, what's going on in your relationship? And they're like, well, we're fighting every day. He never helps out. I'm doing everything around the house. And it's like,
Yeah,
why would you want to have sex with him then?
Mhm.
He cheated on me, or we haven't had a date night in 5 years. Like, why would you want to have sex in that
It's a
situation?
it's very mental for
Yeah.
me for sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
Isn't it
And
for
then the
you?
second,
Oh,
the
I'm
second piece
stressed
of it,
out.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Or if you're mad or like anything, like if
Yeah.
anything involved,
Oh yeah.
you're like, no way.
No.
yeah, you're like, no, why would I want to have sex with you right now? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And then the second big piece of it is our actual enjoyment of sex. So this is another one where, sometimes we'll ask women, okay, well, tell us what sex looks like for you. And she'll say, I don't know, a minute of kissing. Maybe he like squeezes my boobs once and we go have intercourse for 2 minutes and it's over. And so
Mhm.
it's like, well, why would you feel a craving for that? That doesn't make
Mhm.
any sense for you to be sitting there like, oh my God, I can't wait for this I'm so wildly turned on. Let me go jump your bones so I can
Yeah.
have this like 10 seconds of making out in one boob grab. Like, why would you be excited about that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love, Xander, that that it's like a mental game for women, because I feel like a lot of men don't know that, right? Or do they not want to know that?
I think that it's 50-50. There's probably some willful ignorance, but I think that all of us, like men and women, like we all kind of want that magic pill or that magic bullet that is like, oh, we just changed this one thing and all of a sudden I'm super horny all the time. We're having sex all the time. And the reality is it's like you have to be willing to look at a whole range of things, like what's
Right.
going on with stress in my life, how is my relationship doing, how like how physically fit am I? Like there's so many things that we would prefer to not have to look at.
Right.
And so, we focus on other stuff.
And it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, who wouldn't want a magic pill that you could take for anything in life,
Yes.
right? Like, of course we all want that, but sadly, that is not the way that life works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I figured. So I'm thinking, how would that,
Right.
yeah, it's kind of like, oh, if you eat oysters,
Yeah.
like, I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, believe me, I've tried to eat a lot of oysters when I was not in the mood and it didn't work.
Right. Well, and that actually, brings us to our sponsor, one of our sponsors today,
Yes.
which is EveryPlate. And we are actually going to go ahead and talk about that.
Yes.
So that brings us into talking about EveryPlate. And EveryPlate actually is one of our sponsors this week. And what is so amazing about it is you can experience full plates and full wallets with America's best value meal kit. And EveryPlate actually delivers pre-proportioned ingredients and easy to follow recipe cards right to your door. So you can spend less time prepping and cooking and spend more time enjoying good food and enjoying more time with your family. The other thing that I love is you can choose between 17 recipes that change each week and swap proteins, veggies, and sides to your liking. And it just helps everyone's life become so much easier, especially when you're dealing with the kids' schedules.
I mean, I am loving it. I mean, it's been coming to my house once a week, and I've tried everything, and it's so easy to make.
Yeah, and it's so nice also to cut out trips to the grocery store. All I do is constantly go to the grocery store, constantly picking up food. You might forget ingredients, and it actually comes right to your door, and it just takes out all the stress out of meal planning.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so obsessed with it. So try EveryPlate for just $1.79 per meal by going to everyplate.com and entering code DoDallas179. Try EveryPlate for just $1.79 per meal by going to everyplate.com and entering code DoDallas179. Hope you enjoy it as much as we do. We're back.
We're back. So
So I sent this to Cam. One of our listeners was asking, any tips if your partner's penis is too big?
Oh yeah. What do we do?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do we do if it's too big?
So there's a really awesome product that you can buy called the O-Nut, OHNUT, and it's basically kind of like a little silicone donut, and you can put it over the penis down at the base, and that way it sort of like makes the penis seem shorter. So it's going to be more shallow penetration, and it's not going to go in as deep.
Wow.
Maybe they could be the next sponsor for your podcast. You can reach out to them. Like, we gave you a free shout out.
Yeah, there's also certain positions that tend to result in more shallow penetration. So generally, we wouldn't recommend positions that result in really deep penetration in that case.
Yeah, we have a whole sex position playbook where we go over different combinations of positions and what works best for smaller penises, larger penises, all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, because Cameron has a problem. I know.
Yeah, we have
with
that
a large
problem.
penis.
Yeah.
Well, we'll send you the playbook, Cameron.
Yeah, we need the playbook.
Okay. You have any other questions? I'm reading some questions because we had so many
wild questions.
Yes.
Carrie got the wild questions,
Yes.
and then all my fans were like too afraid to ask a lot of things, which I was like laughing my head off that Carrie's fans will ask anything. They're more open.
Yeah, I have a few things that I'm like,
Okay, there was a
I'm
few
not
things
talking
on
about
your list that I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah, one of them was, does Cam know about? I don't even know what that is either. BDSM.
What's that?
What's that?
Bondage, domination, sadomasochism. So bondage, kind of 50 Shades of Grey type of thing, although that's not a good example of it, but yeah.
Yes.
So it's like dominatrix too? Is that part of like, okay. And is there like a society, like a
club you could belong to?
Like, isn't there like a society that they all like kind of connect and share tricks or something?
A little membership card.
Yeah. Or am I making this up?
Well, you wanted to apply?
I thought it was like a secret society, like
No, that will
it's
be
like a
the club.
club.
That's the swingers
That's
with
the
the pineapples.
swingers. Okay, that's the pineapple.
That's the
club.
pineapple, Cam. That's the
But
swingers.
isn't this like? Aren't there like groups, like dominatrix groups, right?
I mean, there are definitely communities
Yeah.
that will form around any sort of kink, but there's not like a global, secret
Oh, there's not.
society
Okay.
kind of
Really
thing. Yeah.
Or we don't know about it.
Maybe it's just so secret we don't even know.
I
about
mean,
it.
I'm like
Yeah.
not into that really either. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm pretty normal.
I don't want to get hurt. Like that's the thing. Like I don't want to get whipped. Like that sounds like that would
I don't.
hurt.
Well, I don't want to be handcuffed.
No.
Like, okay, like even though, like, so I'm very type A. And I was actually reading on one of your posts about the test that you can, take to see how your personality type. Right? If you're an 8 or you're 5 or you're 2,
Mhm.
And what was the test called? I just blanked the name.
Well, we have a sex personality types model where we came up with 11 different sex personality types, and it's all based on what are you really looking for in the bedroom? Like, what does great sex mean to you?
Oh, see, that's a good one. I want to take that one because I was looking at another one that it was just in general your personality type, and then how because it's like my personality type is very type A.
Mhm.
And I like to have when I go out, I don't like to be kind of told what to do, but not in the bedroom.
You don't like to be told what to do. She doesn't want anyone bossy around her.
Yeah, I don't like.
She will kick them
Yeah.
out very quickly.
That's very common that the way that we show up like outside of the bedroom, we actually want the totally opposite thing inside of the bedroom.
Really?
Yes,
So actually in like bondage and domination communities, like a lot of people who are really interested in being super submissive are people who are very high powered in their day-to-day life.
Okay,
Oh,
well, I definitely
wow.
don't want to be super submissive. That's
A little submissive.
but I want my guy to take control for sure.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I kind of like that. I mean, and what about you,
I'm
Cam?
the same.
Yeah,
I'm the same. Yes.
yeah.
I'm the same. I
Yeah.
want him also to make the dinner reservations. I want him to make the airplane tickets. Like I just like I'm kind of more passive and I like him kind of taking control.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I mean, I definitely.
When it comes to that kind of stuff,
Yeah. You like
But I
you,
can get bossy with him, but not usually
in the
in
bedroom.
the bedroom.
You don't go get on top of me, Court.
No.
Do a doggy style now.
No. I suggest things though.
Oh, you do?
I can suggest things. Yes.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I definitely think like I'm a lot more like don't just let somebody take control over me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, but I have to trust them. But I mean, I'm not gonna trust him if I don't. I mean, if I'm not gonna sleep with someone that I don't know really well and I don't trust.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of one of those things that
Yeah.
if I do trust them, then I want them to take control.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
So, well, guys out there listening, you got to really work Kary to get her in the room. So it's not easy.
Oh yeah, Cameron knows.
Yes.
She's like everybody, my personality, and a lot of people that don't know me maybe like, oh, Kary, because I'm super social, like to go out, and I'm
Yeah.
a big flirt, and
She's a big flirt, but then different. Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't I don't sleep with someone unless I really know
And-
them. I have an emotional connection.
Do you feel comfortable telling your partner, like, I want you to take control?
Yeah, if they ask me. Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm super, good to communicate with. If
Mhm.
if I'm gonna have sex with someone, we've probably already been communicating a lot.
That's really good. Yeah, a lot of times people want their partner to take control, but they feel too nervous or embarrassed to even say that. And so then you're both in the bedroom like, what's going on? Somebody's got to take the lead here.
Yeah. And then you also have a whole email chain as well. So fans can sign up for your emails, right? And then you kind of send out little lessons or like what can
Yeah.
fans do to get educated from you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, they can come over to vmtherapy.com/free. And we have a ton of different free guides that we have on our website, and that'll put you onto our email list. Basically, we do a lot of stuff every week. We have a YouTube video, we have a podcast, we're always doing stuff on social media. So we have a weekly email that goes out on Fridays. It's like, here's what you missed. Click here to watch the YouTube video about female orgasm. Click here to listen to the Butt Stuff podcast. So it's just the best way to keep up with us and get to see all the fun stuff that we have, coming out, and
Good.
we're always
Well,
releasing new stuff.
we're gonna register, Cam.
Yeah, we're gonna register.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we're gonna get on your email list for sure.
And I think I read somewhere that the emails come through without the topic, like crazy topics, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We have a lot of people who are like, I don't want the notification popping up on my phone and people be like, open me to learn how to give a great blowjob or something like that. So we keep our email titles very tame. It's always just little suggestive things, or if somebody saw your phone, they would never know what it was.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
I
love that.
I do too.
Yeah, that's all we need to be, at, our child's school and something pops up,
Yeah.
with our phone next to us and all the moms sitting next to us.
Uh-huh.
That's definitely okay. So the other thing I have a question for
Looking at
is,
questions.
do you think, I know sex ed is taught in schools and everything, but after that, where does the majority of the people learn about all these new things? Because for me, I've just learned from like talking to friends. There's really
Mhm.
never been a place where I've ever gone and been like, oh, most people read books. Like, I don't know. I've always just learned from my friends. What about you, Carrie?
When you were younger?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a good question. Someone actually said you should ask that question. How do you teach your kids, about sex and things like that? I mean, my answer was like, I know that, yeah, they go to in school, they teach them about the P's and
The basics.
the basics,
Right.
Mhm.
and that's where I ended up
But they
trying
don't
to
use
talk
the terms, like,
Yeah.
they don't really talk about that.
And in a lot of states, they
No, but
can't do it at all. Yeah,
yeah,
you really can't
Really?
rely on the school to teach your kids about it,
I
unfortunately.
mean, how we're gonna
Yeah.
but I mean, I actually honestly have done a really bad job. I mean, my youngest is almost 15 next month, and I mean, how do I teach her about blowjobs?
Right. Like,
Like, is
is
that
it the best to have
no?
a conversation and sit down before they attempt it? I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah, we
yeah,
we have a podcast episode where we sort of walk through, how to teach your kids to have a healthy relationship with sex. And some of the tips that we offer is that it should be an ongoing conversation in your household. I think a lot of parents, my parents, tried to have one
Yeah, me
conversation
too.
with me. Yeah. And even that one conversation was like, hey, you can ask us questions. There was never any volunteering of information. So have it be an open topic of conversation. There are different age appropriate things that you can share with your kids, and we go over that in the podcast too.
Okay.
But letting your kids know, like, this is an okay topic to talk about. There's nothing shameful or embarrassing about it. I'm always here if you have questions. Yeah, a lot of times parents think like, oh my gosh, am I supposed to teach like blowjob techniques or something like that? You don't have to teach techniques to your kids, but you want them to understand that like sex is normal, healthy, there's nothing wrong with it. And you want to empower them to make healthy decisions for themselves, to like be able to think for themselves of what do I want out of my sex life?
Yeah, I think one of the huge benefits of having that conversation over time is that you're able to show your kids that like what you see in movies and what you read in books, like that it's not a how-to, like that is it's a glorified version of
Mhm.
what goes on. It's entertainment. So like when you see people having sex in a movie, it takes 30
Or in
seconds and
porn.
they're skipping over all the real stuff that happens, like taking off the clothes and kissing and getting warmed up and all this stuff. And I think without that, it's really easy to just be like, oh, well, this is all I ever saw. And so I'm pretty sure this is how it's supposed to work. And if it doesn't go that way, then something must be wrong with me.
and I think most importantly, teaching. I mean, especially when they're younger, letting kids know that
Mhm.
it's okay to masturbate. It's okay to feel a certain way. I mean, boys do it, instinctively. I think women are a lot more like, wait, why do I feel this way? And
Mhm.
that is something that I think you and me were
Mhm.
never taught.
Yeah.
And that's, one of the things, like, I mean, I didn't really think about it. They don't tell you, oh, it's okay to feel good to, masturbate. And I think a lot of
I was
girls,
told to close my eyes when the kissing started on TV.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
grew
I
up
mean,
Catholic,
there's really
so
interesting research showing that even fetuses in the womb masturbate. And it's really
Okay.
uncomfortable for us to talk about like kids masturbating, right? But the reality is like it's not sexual in the way that we think of masturbation as adults. Kids are just exploring their bodies and
mhm,
delighting in their bodies. And I just think
mhm.
like how cool would it be if we could encourage that, just feeling delight in your body? And what would it be like as adults if we had felt joy in our own bodies for our entire lives? And then going back to what you were saying earlier, Cam, like I think you make a really good point that there's just not a great place for us to learn about sex.
Mhm.
And so a lot of us, even as adults, even if we've been having sex for years, still feel very confused about all the ins and outs and how it works. And that's really what the point of our business is that we want to give shame-free, practical, really fun sex advice to help give people this sex education that we never had so that we can all have more fun in the bedroom.
Mhm. You guys should have your own TV show. Like, it should be a TV show. Like, where like they're talking about it,
Mhm.
And
honestly,
showing.
or the podcast too is the perfect place, not like showing things,
Oh,
but
I was
like,
gonna say like a
you
TV show,
know,
like showing positions.
but I just feel like it just
Aw.
I do. I really feel like there's so much other couples could learn. And there's so much to it.
Thank you.
Come watch
Well, if,
me,
if you want to chat with any Bravo producers with us or for us,
for sure.
but thank you for saying
Yeah.
that. We really appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, there's just such a big, broad range of things people can learn every
Well, and
day.
the thing is
Yeah.
also such a, like we were talking about, is such a taboo subject, and there's so many questions. And,
Mhm.
I do have a lot of friends, and um, and I started going, gosh, they have a lot of questions. They're on, they wonder about X, Y, and Z, or how the relationship is, or, questions about like even my partner wanted me to do a threesome, and I felt really uncomfortable. How do I handle that?
Mhm.
I don't think people really know that there's this sex therapist,
No,
and
I don't think people know that there's such a thing,
Yeah.
you
I
know?
honestly, it's like we've me and Cam, started really learning about it, and that's what we were like, you know what? Let's bring on this
Mhm.
guest and ask questions and put it out there because it should be more talked about,
It
don't you
really
think?
should. Yeah,
Yeah,
and a lot of people don't talk about it. Like, even, like, when I'm with my girlfriends, like, depends on what girlfriend group, but we'll talk about it, no, 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 but some are then just also afraid to talk about their spouse because they think they're talking about it in a bad way
yeah.
if
Oh
they
yeah.
bring it up, and then they don't wanna
Mhm.
disrespect
Or they lie
them.
about it.
Yep,
Oh
or
yeah,
they
we have great
lie
Mhm.
sex life, and
3 times a day, and
yeah, and or yeah,
yeah.
of course I come all every time.
Yeah.
And then it
Exactly.
makes other women that are like, oh, there's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many of the women who go through finishing school, which is our orgasm course for women, they say exactly that to us. Like, it's either I feel too embarrassed to even tell my best friend, like I've never had an orgasm, or I, don't consistently orgasm, or it's that there's this sort of pressure of feeling like you have to lie, and because everybody else is saying like, oh yeah, I have no orgasm problems, I orgasm every time, sex is amazing. So it's sad that even with our closest friends, we often feel really ashamed to speak our truth and be honest. So it's just another reason why we're really grateful to you guys for being willing to open up this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, and I definitely, like we were talking about it last week. Like, I definitely like. I mean, I don't orgasm every time. Obviously, I probably you know more closer to 50%, but I don't have to orgasm to super enjoy it.
Hmm.
Sex, right? I mean, I can
Mhm,
have an amazing time and be fully satisfied without
mhm,
having to orgasm.
mhm.
Don't you
Yeah,
feel the
Absolutely.
same way?
me too, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, which is interesting.
Yeah, no, I mean, we teach, or I teach an orgasm course, and I'm all about the orgasms. And at the same time, I think that there's a little bit too much pressure on them because the reality is that an orgasm typically happens at the end of whatever sexual interaction you're having. Typically, it lasts anywhere from 2 to 20 seconds. So that's just a very small sliver of an entire interaction that you can have with somebody. And you can experience pleasure without having an orgasm. It's not like a black and white or either or type of thing. So like, yes, I want every woman to know how to orgasm and to feel empowered around that. And I also want women to be able to like recognize that it's not the one and only most important thing about sex.
Okay, since you teach these topics and we've been talking about it so much, what are your, main tips about orgasm
And,
for
and how
women?
do people sign up for
Yes.
your class?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
So
mainly give us the tips first, and then we'll
Yeah.
sign. Yeah,
yeah.
Cameron already wants to be a student, but hold on, Cam. Let's
Sign up.
yeah, she's ready to sign up, but give us the tips first,
Mhm.
and then maybe we can try those, and then
Yes.
we're
Cam
gonna,
and we have another similarity here because I love being a student too. I'm always like, sign me up, I'm ready. Okay, so some free tips to get started with. The first thing is you have to learn how to do it on your own. So most women, if they've never masturbated before, they've never been successful with it, most women are very uncomfortable with it. And they're like, I just want to learn how my partner can get me there.
Yeah, just make him do it to me.
Yeah, but the reality
yeah,
is
so that is definitely me.
you have to understand your own body first
Yeah.
and understand
So,
what
yeah.
you respond to and what you like. And it's also easier too, because when you are just on your own, you get a better sense of like, oh, I'm liking that. I'm not liking that. Let me change this up a little, more pressure, less pressure. And you can make all those adjustments versus when you're trying to teach another person, it's like, I don't know, that doesn't feel great, but I'm not sure why. And I don't know what to tell you to do different, right? So it just gets confusing. So we have a whole section of the course that's all about how to overcome, discomfort that you have around masturbation and feel confident doing it. And so then some specific techniques with that. One of the biggest things that a lot of women don't realize is there are basically two different ways that you can stimulate your clitoris. One of them is touching it directly, and the other is touching indirectly. So that might be like over your labia, it might be keeping underwear on, it might be touching around it. But typically, women like either they're in one of those two camps. You like it directly stimulated or indirectly stimulated. So that's a great thing to play around with, is trying to get a sense of, does it feel too intense if I touch it directly, or sometimes it even feels painful, versus does it feel better if I'm like keeping some underwear on or I'm like stroking around it rather than touching it directly.
Yeah, because we'll hear from a lot of women who are like, oh, like I touched it once, or my partner like tried to touch it while we were having sex and it really hurt. And they'll just be like, so like, I don't want him to do it again. Like, it must not be for me, but it's like, there's actually all these other ways to explore and try things to really get a sense of what you like. It's not just like, oh, my clitoris is too sensitive to ever be touched.
Mm-hmm. So then we'll give you the two strokes that there has been a limited amount of research done on, like what are the actual strokes that women do that are most successful. And I've also polled, like there've been thousands of women who have gone through finishing school, and I've polled them to see what are the techniques that you respond to the best. So if you like indirect stimulation, typically what works best is circling around the clitoris with one finger. So you're kind of drawing like a wide circle around it.
Okay.
Whereas if you like direct stimulation, the most successful stroke has been diagonally across the top of the clitoris. So you're doing like a little diagonal motion, and you want to hit, like if you're looking down at your body, you want to hit the left side of it. So you start like in the back right and then come across to the top left of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you think about the little, bullets and vibrators and stuff like that? Does that help too?
Vibrators can be great for women who have never had an orgasm before because they do tend to provide like a pretty easy pathway to orgasm. I will say vibrators don't work for every woman. So don't freak out if you try it and you don't like it. That's normal. But vibrators can be really nice because it helps you get over the mental hump. A lot of times women think like, I'm broken, I'm never going to be able to orgasm, something's wrong with me. And so if you can get that like an easier, faster orgasm with a vibrator, it's sort of that mental relief of, okay, my body's fine. I'm capable of doing it. Let me figure out other ways to get there. And then when it comes to vibrators, I like to tell women just to be thoughtful of the role that you want your vibrator to play in your sex life. So if you love using a vibrator with a partner and that's super sexy and exciting to you, great. Use it on your own, use it on your partner. There's no problems with using a vibrator. But if you want your partner to be able to help you orgasm with their hands or their mouth, or you want to be able to use your hand too, then I recommend, like after you've had that first orgasm, tuck the vibrator away and learn how to get there with your hands.
Yeah, because we hear from a lot of women who are like, I can only come with a vibrator. Like, have I broken myself?
Yeah.
And the answer is like, no, you just need to practice without the vibrator for a while because your body has gotten used to that stimulation and that stimulation alone.
Yeah, the Cameron is really funny because
Yeah.
I did have a couple friends that, I mean, I with my ex-husband, we had not very often, but we did buy some fun toys or whatever. But of course, I'm not bringing them with me getting divorced, right? So those were gone in the trash. So it's funny because I did have a few friends bring me over for a housewarming.
Oh, that's so
Divorce.
funny. That's so funny.
Some different vibrators.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, okay, girls.
So it's not a housewarming, it's a bedroom warming gift.
Exactly. We're getting divorced and
Yeah.
you move into a new place by yourself.
Yep.
Here's a gift for you. I'm like,
I didn't even think of that.
yeah,
I
Cam.
didn't think of that gift idea.
I know. I was waiting for my pink
I don't know
vibrator
why I
from
didn't
you.
think of it.
Yeah. So, okay, that's a lot of great
Yeah.
information. And on that note, we have another sponsor this week, which is Bonafide,
Yep.
and is an amazing product, all natural, organic that we are in love with. So, guys, so we have our sponsor for the week is Bonafide, which is perfect with our topics we were talking about, all about women. So Bonafide has different products that are so amazing. There is one called Resilient, and that provides powerful hormone-free relief for women experiencing menopause, so hot flashes, and night sweats, which is so amazing. There's another one called Ristalai, which provides powerful hormone-free support for sexual active women who want to enhance the response to sexual stimulation, which is what kind of like we were talking about, Cam. If there's like a product and this is natural and hormone free, which is amazing. And then there's one that is called Rabaree, which provides powerful hormone free from vaginal dryness. So, Bonafide really has so many different products for whatever aspect you're at in your life. So,
Yeah. And what's so awesome too is it's created, ways to give women an alternative to effectively relieve the symptoms that accompany hormonal fluctuations within their body, because everyone deserves relief without compromise. And also, I think you guys should go ahead and give Bonafide a try today. There's no hormones and no prescription required. Real relief without compromise. To get 20% off your first purchase when you subscribe to any product, go to hellobonafide.com and use promo code Dallas. That's hello, BONAFIDE.com and code Dallas for 20% off at checkout. For best prices and free shipping, go directly to hellobonafide.com website. This is their best offer anywhere. So check it out and use promo code Dallas.
And but anyway, so we're back. What is your other questions that you have there, Cam?
You know what? To be honest, we actually covered most of it. Let's see.
Okay, so
Cam, I didn't tell you how to sign up for finishing school.
Oh, yes.
I can tell you that.
Yeah, definitely let us know, because I think we should both go together.
And the other question I also had is, when do you know when you need hormone therapy? That's another thing. I'm sure older people need that.
Yeah. So for signing up for finishing school, it's vmtherapy.com. And that's my initials, vmtherapy.com /
Okay.
Yeah. How to orgasm. I'll send it to you guys later.
I guess we couldn't do this class together, Cam.
We can do some parts of it together. Yeah. Some parts separate, some parts together. And for the hormone replacement therapy, we're definitely not hormone specialists. So I would check out, talk to your doctor about that. But I'll kind of say what I said before too, is that a lot of times people think that hormones are like the whole picture when it comes to sex drive and enjoyment and all of that. And they definitely are important and can affect things, but it's to a much smaller degree than a lot of people think. So talk to your doctor if you have any questions or concerns, but I think it's
you see a regular doctor for that, right? Do people see gynecologists for that? Is that what people see, or is it called hormone doctor? I don't know.
Yeah, they're usually hormone specialists, people who specifically work with hormone issues. Okay. So I've checked that out.
Okay, so I do have a question from someone that it is going back and talking about the taboo subject. They're talking about that their partner really enjoys like the anal sex. And do you have any tips of how to, have a pleasurable anal sex experience?
Yeah, so definitely starting out with the baby steps, like we mentioned before, playing around with fingers and with toys before you move on to intercourse. So you just want to make sure you enjoy it, you kind of bring those nerves down, get a little more comfortable with it. And then if you like all of that and you want to continue on with more, so in the moment, you want to warm up using fingers and maybe toys again. So you're feeling nice and relaxed, you're feeling pleasure. And then the main thing with anal sex, there are two main things: go slow and use so much lube.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, there's no such thing as too much. I think,
yeah.
people think like, oh, I just need a little tiny bit, but it's like, that it is not self-lubricating at all. Like you need all of the lube that you can get. There's really no such thing as too much.
Yeah. So use a ton of lube, put it on your partner, put it on you directly. Don't feel afraid to reapply if you need to. Definitely look for lubes that are specifically made for anal sex because they tend to be a little bit thicker and last longer. And then going really, really slow. So a lot of people, especially if it's your first time, like we can get really nervous and tense up, and that can make it feel uncomfortable or even painful. So you really want to relax. So I tend to recommend doing it in doggy style initially because the person who's being penetrated, they can be the one who's in control of the penetration. So you push back against your partner. So that way you're controlling like how fast, how deep you feel like you have the control, and you can go nice and slow. Are you ready, Cam? Are you ready?
My hands are sweating right now. I don't know if it's just from this conversation. My hands are all like sweating. I'm getting nervous. So funny.
No, it's so funny. Yeah, I mean, and I think it has to be the perfect storm, right? You have to be like super into the guy, feel super comfortable. Make sure you do like,
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be like
You have to
with
be into that.
anything.
Because there's some people just don't, that's not on their bucket list.
Yeah, I mean, it's not on your
You do
bucket
not have to do it if you're not.
It's not. Some people it is, but not mine. I got other bucket list items.
What are your bucket list, Cam?
Well, not in terms of like, I
You have any sex?
I want to go to Egypt. On my bucket list.
Oh, but nothing sexual? Have you had sex on an airplane? Have you done? Oh, no,
yes.
Not on a private, on a commercial.
No, only private.
Only private?
Yeah.
Have you done the Mile High Club?
No. Well, I'm technically Mile High Club because it's still in the air. That counts.
That counts.
That counts.
Okay. Yeah, I done the.
Are you a commercial Mile High Club member?
I sure am.
No way.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
I was so daring.
I am. I was like, I am doing this.
Wow.
That was with my ex-husband, and he was like, "Are you kidding me right now?" I go, "Oh no, I want to belong to this."
Oh my
club.
I don't know how people get away with
No,
that.
listen, at the flight
I would totally be the girl in the front, be the detective. Like,
oh no. The flight didn't even help us because she could tell.
She could.
Oh yeah, that I was like wanting to do, and it was funny because she goes, "Yeah, the bathroom in the front."
No, she did not say that. You
Swear.
asked her?
No, kind of like could tell or something because we were in like this, of course, in the first class.
Yeah.
And then we were coming back. It was a long trip. We were coming back from China. So it was like 18 hours. So, I had to keep myself entertained.
Yeah.
And might as well join the club.
And now you're part of the club.
I am part of the club, the real club.
Yeah.
The private one is not the real club.
That's the real club.
No. I done that one, but that's easy. I mean, come on.
Well, yeah, you actually can do it though and not have to be quiet.
Yeah, it was kind of embarrassing coming out, and then we did press the emergency.
No, you did not. Oh my God. No, you did not. Did the stewards have to come help you?
Oh, yeah.
We're fine in here.
I'm just going to tell you, it was not, definitely did not orgasm, but we did it.
Yeah.
It was like, let's do it. And
that's funny.
Yeah. So that should be your bucket list.
Well, I don't know. I don't think I can do it. I'm not like adventurous like that.
Have you had sex in any like public places?
No. Well, the only place is in a stairwell, but it was like a locked stairwell.
So nobody could come in.
Mm-mm. And the only other place is like on an island.
Like outside on the beach.
Yeah, like on a beach
But it was
by
just
myself. Like, with my husband,
yeah.
But it's like, when we went on our honeymoon, you literally can like rent an island to be by yourself. Like, when you're on your honeymoon in Fiji, you can like rent an island and you get dropped off on the island by yourself.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. It was like survivor for the day on the island.
So Cor was like, yeah, I'm definitely renting that island.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That stairwell's the only adventurous place. That was probably it. And it had locked doors. I mean, what about you?
I mean,
Pop
yes,
it up.
I have. I've done it in,
A lot of places?
A lot of public places.
Oh, like, okay, you got to name one.
I mean, a park, a bathroom in a, restaurant, a bathroom in a nightclub.
Uh-huh.
We definitely were doing in a dance floor.
No, you did not. On a dance floor?
Wow, it's impressive.
Under your skirt?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. Well,
I mean,
you're sneaky.
Not like like for a little bit, and it was like, okay.
Yeah.
It's not like fully having sex, right? It was kind of like, I mean,
Little teaser.
Obviously on an airplane. I mean, that's pretty public.
Yeah, that's public. Yeah, that's definitely public.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. You've done it.
Yeah. I have no problem doing,
No.
having sex in public
No,
places.
you like adventure.
I like adventure for sure.
I don't like adventure like that, but you like adventure. I get it.
But I have to have, like I said again, the guy take control on that department. I don't take the control. I don't go, oh, let's go. I mean, I'm kind of like, I'm a good follower.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So on that note,
on that note, okay.
I don't think my hands can sweat more. So
yeah, I mean, anything else that you think that is important for us to know, or our listeners to know, anything that you go, oh my gosh, this is one thing that we love to give advice on, or what is your like favorite
and where
thing
they can and we'll just talk also about where they can follow you again too, so people can tune in.
Yeah, we'd love to connect with anyone of your community. So the best place to find us is on Instagram, and our handle is Vanessa Marin Therapy. And I would definitely just go and check out all of our highlights. We have like all of our different free guides that we offer. We have some of the most like popular topics that we get asked about, like orgasm and sex drive and all kinds of stuff like that. And we do daily stories where we're always talking about stuff together. So come check us out there, watch our stories every day, and learn along with us.
Yay. Thank you so much, Vanessa and Xander.
Well, she didn't tell us the one thing that everybody, like the one, like you jumped into the, tell us where to find us. I was waiting for that one, my question first.
I know. Okay.
Yeah. One more great thing that you can give us to the listeners out there.
Oh man, there are so many. It's always hard to like narrow it down. But I think, let me give you one other one that just came up that we were talking about it yesterday. So a big thing that comes up for a lot of people is if you ask them, like, what is your fantasy? A lot of people will say, I don't really have any. And we've found that it's really just like the wording feels very challenging to people. A lot of people hear the word fantasy and they think it has to be something really elaborate or detailed or super complex that you fantasize about all the time. So instead, we really love the question, what is something that you're curious about trying? Because it emphasizes you're just curious. You don't even know if you're going to like it or not. It's not necessarily something you think about all the time, but we just find that that's a much easier question to ask your partner. So that's everyone's homework assignment, is just go ask your partner what's something that you're curious about trying.
I love that.
I do too. That's a great one. Yes.
Awesome.
That's way better than the fantasy, because fantasy almost seems like impossible.
It just stumps me.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming in. I mean, you guys are amazing. Love meeting you both.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It's been great.
Yes.
Yeah, will you come back later in a few months?
So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Just let us know.
Oh, good. I can't wait to start listening to your podcast as well. And it's Pillow Talk. So I can't wait.
Yes. We're going to listen to your podcast and we're going to take the classes.
Yep. Yeah, I'll shoot you an email.
So we're so excited.
We're going to start learning.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies, so much.
Bye.
Bye, guys.